Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are on this fine planet. This is Paul Raw coming to you today with episode 2 of the Raw Hip Hop Perspective. Um, Today, I record this video reluctantly for whomever has watched my last video again. Whomever has watched my last video, I do this reluctantly. But, God works in mysterious ways. He always pushes us in the right direction. It's called, the divine order. All things work in divine order. So today, hip hop or raw hip hop perspective, in today's episode, we're going to cover the pride situation. I'm not going to go too in depth. This is going to be a short one. And I like to thank everyone who's watched my videos. I haven't reached, astronomical numbers. But if just one person listens, I am good with that. Okay. And going by my data, it looks like most of you guys are females. Or I shouldn't say guys, but most of my listeners are females. I do not know what's going on there, whether you got some guys cross dressing online, but um and that's not to say anything about females. Hey, I appreciate your presence. I love you, girl. But bitch, please. I love you. But here we go. Today I do this reluctantly because, this whole black American slash black immigrant situation has been going on for a long time. A long, long time, man. And you sit back, you look, you listen, and me being a Brooklyn native, you sit back and listen because nigga, you get shot. Niggas ain't playing. They got families to feed, you know, bitches to fuck, and all types of things. So you have to be observant and use some discretion, or else that's your ass. So you sit back, you watch shit, and you just go, wow, they're really doing this shit. And I see it in modern day New York, but back in the day, you'll see them with like obvious drug fronts. Like, I don't know if anyone's seen the movie Half Baked, or if anyone who's listening to me has seen the movie Half Baked, but Dave Chappelle hinted to that in his movie when he said, you go into the bodega and you just know it's a drug front because all of the food is old. There's no real business going on. But that took place a long time ago in New York. Still takes place today, most likely. I don't know. That's not my life. But that's not the point. So, this stuff happens and you live your life. And this leads me into the topic of today, prize. I mentioned that earlier. But prize coming out as an FBI informant is like, it's not a surprise to me, you know. And, like I just said, you could just tell back in the days this is a drug front, especially if you smoke weed. Going back to Dave Chappelle, yeah, when you go cop weed, you could tell this is a drug, you're going to buy weed. And to bring it up to the modern day, now the drug fronts are still the corner stores, but now they get to sell counterfeit goods openly on the street. And that's not really a drug front, but that's a part of that world, the underworld. And they sell it openly, not to dwell on it, because I'm not going to hate on them. I've bought counterfeit goods, I've sold counterfeit goods, but it's like it's out in the open now, you know, and it's kind of mysterious to me. How could you do that? How could you get away with that? Because when we did that back in the days, Black Americans, and it's not selling, it's not, and this isn't restricted to us selling counterfeit goods. I mean, you sell anything, the cops are messing with you. Back in the day, they're checking your vendor's license, they're taking your a blood sample, they're fucking frisking you. Like today's 125th Street in Harlem is not yesteryear's 125th Street in Harlem. A long time ago, man, you had vendors from fucking fucking Saint Nick, damn near Saint Nick, all the way to fucking Malcolm X Boulevard. They were just up and down. And a lot of them were us, Black Americans, with sprinklings of Caribbeans, but a lot of them were us. So, you know, so to get back to the point, they do it in the open. And that's the title of this video, by the way, Open Secrets. And that goes back to Praz. They like the Fugees' first album. I was forced to listen to it by my Haitian homie, because I bought the first album. I think it was called A Translator Crew. Now I'm working off memory, so I could be wrong, but it was a okay album. It was whatever. Yeah, it was like whatever. You're special Negroes. You know how to speak another language. Wow. And what saved them was Salam Remy's, a Black American, by the way, to my knowledge. It was Salam Remy's remix of a song called Mona Lisa that saved them. And also, I don't know if Salam Remy produced a second single that really popped, but I think Vocab was the name of the song. But bottom line is, I liked them, but I also knew they were those special Negroes. And we all knew Lauryn Hill from Sister Act. And we all knew her background because in the Sister Act promo, they did interviews with her. And in one of the interviews, I remember clearly her showing the interviewer her dorm room at Columbia. And for those who know, Columbia is ground zero for those boys, for one of the alphabet departments, if you know what I'm saying. And I don't want any problem with y'all. I respect authority. We're good. But when I saw that and I knew this knowledge, I was like, what's going on here? I don't know what's going on with Homegirl. But this is before the Fugees. And that's not to implicate Lauryn in any kind of way, because Lauryn was taken advantage of by those Caribbean do good for nothing motherfuckers. I should probably make a video on her just solely based on what they did to our sister, because everybody thought she was Caribbean, but I knew she was Black American, and that's to my knowledge to this day. And I saw what they did to the sister. So sad, so sad. I even had a conversation with my Jamaican brother, who's a part of an organization I'm a part of, and we spoke about it, but I'm not going to get into that. And from that interview of her on Sister, for the Sister Act movie, to get back on track, excuse me, it's early in the morning. I knew, she was special. Something's going on here, She's going to an Ivy League university, but she's acting. So that means, back in the days, that was a gold standard. Like, she was most likely profiled in Jet magazine as one of the up and coming little new Negroes, So fast forward from that, you get the Fugees, and I kept my eye on them, at least for the first album. But then I was forced to listen to the second album, as I stated earlier, by my Haitian homie. And I listened to it and I said, it's good, it's decent, it's cool. And they have songs on mixtapes too that I like. I forgot the name of the song. Um, how many mics can I rip on a daily? Many, many. I mean, many, many, many. Comes back to me like a motherfucker. My mind is like fucking a vault. But that song really caught people's attention. But could I listen to a whole album of these motherfuckers again? I don't know. At least then I knew I didn't want to. So my homie made me listen to it. And throughout the album, I was like, oh, these niggas are taking jabs at Black Americans. Like, there was one thing they would say in there, like they had a skit where they're talking about, like, you know, you got to guard the gate. They're coming for the gate. I was like, these niggas are being smart asses. They're being, because the gate, the back in the days was pretty much like what you would call a trap house today, the trap. So I was like, oh, these niggas are being slick. They're throwing out the fucking lingo to the white folk because they were multi-platinum. They were multi-platinum by then. You know, the second album, you know, I knew if they reached multi-platinum status, they had a lot of white listeners. That's not the Black Dollar. The Black Dollar will support, I mean, in terms of rap back in the day, the Black Dollar can achieve Gangstar success. You know, if you don't know Gangstar, slap yourself. And if you're into hip hop, actually, and you do not know Gangstar, slap yourself. Everybody else, hey, who cares? But bottom line is, I knew they had the white ears. So I said, why these niggas keep on saying like slick shit? And they're using a lot of like esoteric lyrics and shit that niggas know about. And I'm like, these niggas are kind of iffy. Like, I don't know about these niggas. You know, not so much Lauryn Hill, you know what I'm saying? Lauryn Hill, I think she knew what she was doing, but she was coming from a healthy space. Like, you know, for her people, for hip hop, really. So I'm not gonna fault her. That's my girl. Everybody loved her first album. Oh shit. I could listen to that shit today. But that's neither here nor there. We're already 12 minutes in and I gotta get this shit done and get out of here. So when I heard the first album, I said, man, these niggas sound questionable. Like something's going on here. It just doesn't feel right. Something's going on. Okay. And then, you know, of course they break up. And then Wyclef makes a song called Gone Till November. That's drug lingo. That's drug dealer lingo. Excuse me. That's drug dealer lingo. Excuse me for like my speech, you know. I'm a dumb nigga from Brownsville. But here we go, man. He made the song based on dealer lingo. And I said, what the fuck? What is going on here? First, you niggas are dropping little smart alecky comments in your first album. Now, this nigga makes a whole song dropping shit. And I'm not into drug dealing. I'm not here to protect them. They poison my community. Hey, and if they're not repentant, fuck them. If they're not seeking redemption, fuck them. So I'm not here to defend them. But I am saying, like, how is this nigga making this type of song and getting away with it? I said, what the fuck? What the fuck is this? You know, and I'm like, hey, what is this? And then, you know, Pras comes out with his solo shit. It's corny as fuck. You know, he was the corniest one in the group, actually. You know, not to get too far off track, but in hindsight, he was corny, but that nigga rap better than a lot of these little niggas today. That's the irony of shit. But that's neither here nor there. So Wyclef comes out with his drug dealer song, you know. And for people that don't know, Gone Till November is pretty much on the East Coast is like back in the day, niggas would leave like during like spring, right when the snow stops and shit, and niggas could drive safely and maybe escape capture. But they would leave, and they would leave around March, April, around this time, like April, Mayish, you know, go down south, sell their drugs. And if shit was really popping and good, they would stay until wintertime, right before, snowfall, which is November. Hence, gone till November, you know. And that was really for the flunkies, which most of them were flunkies, and they made, a fraction of whatever the top dog made. So they had to stay down there or whatever. And they would come back around November, and just repeat that cycle. They may do it to this day. I don't know. That's not my life. More power to them, whatever they do, whatever. So I'm like, why is this nigga making a drug dealer song? And you're supposed to be cultured. You speak 10 languages and shit and shit. And I'm like, why is he doing this shit? And this is around the time when the Wu-Tang was really popping too. And I'm like, we got these niggas talking the street shit from their angle, and you're talking this shit from that angle. But you're taking little pot shots at the Wu-Tang by saying Gates and all that other shit, because that was really a word used in a lot of Wu-Tang songs. Is like, and they're in direct competition with the Wu-Tang. But the bottom line is, I'm sitting here like, this is very confusing. It's even confusing as I talk about it right now. But to get back on track, he made that song, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like, what's going on here? The fuck is this? And I'm used to that feeling growing up the way I grew up. Like, what the fuck is this? Like, what the fuck is going on here? And that's not something I think about or harp on, but, situations like the prize informant case let me know one thing. A lot of these niggas came here to be this. They came here to be, a little immigrant leech, and they blended in with hip hop, and now they want to eat it from the inside out, damn near. And if you know this character right here, is based on the movie or the cartoon movie character Fievel. Fievel was a mouse who came from, I don't know what country, but he came from Europe essentially. And he came here as an immigrant to America. It was a real popular cartoon movie. If you haven't seen it, go view it. And the reason I even have this image is because that's what many of them were. They were trying, like when they came to America, they latched on to hip hop to blend in, to, matriculate into American culture, because they couldn't matriculate into upper class American culture, which they wanted to initially. They couldn't afford to commute to Long Island or the rich parts of New Jersey. So to get back to the Fugees, their entry point was Newark, Jersey City, and that's a poor area at that time, especially Newark, Jersey City as well. Jersey City has come up quite a bit, of course, but that was their entry point. So they use hip hop as an entry point. And I'm seeing this and I'm laying back in the cut. And then as years progress, or not as years progress, but to backtrack a little bit, we have the whole Tupac situation, his whole situation in New York. And Tupac spilled the beans. Like, I remember an interview with him and Kevin Powell, and he tells the story of how these people want to, start their own record label, and they want every artist. And they're pretty much trying to muscle Tupac into signing with them. Tupac has gone on record saying this. And one of the people was a gentleman by the name of Haitian Jack. I'm not even going to show his face. I was going to, but like I said, I'm not a part of that world. I don't even play with the motherfuckers. You don't know what the fuck. But bottom line is, Haitian Jack is alleged to have been an informant, and Tupac's lawyer said this in a movie by the title of Thug Angel, I believe. And he got Haitian Jack's record, and it showed arrest after arrest after arrest after arrest, but release. And he's like, that's the standard lifestyle of an informant. And Tupac's lawyer was, of course, connected with the Black Panther Party. So they the history of the Black Panther Party. They are well versed in informants, So I'm sitting. So when he said that, and I knew that Haitian Jack was connected with the Fugees, which is why Tupac went after the Fugees, because Tupac was really trying to take down the whole entire shit, like just wipe them off the map. He didn't, I mean, to my knowledge, he didn't have any direct connection to Lauren, Pras, or Wyclef. But that one connection or loose connection was Haitian Jack. Haitian Jack is documented as an extortionist or an extortioner of hip hop artists. This is something that's been established for years. That's why these niggas don't even talk about this nigga, because this nigga's alive, living well in the DR. After all these years of committing crime, this nigga's free. So once we see Wyclef and the Fugees, or excuse me, not single out Wyclef, but we see the Fugees, Lauren, Wyclef, and Pras, and to a lesser degree, of course, Lauryn Hill, because she's a girl, and that culture is really, I'm not going to get into that, but Haitian Jack had a connection to Pras and Wyclef, if anything. Once I saw that, I was like, "Oh, these niggas." It was confusing from the beginning, but it all makes sense once we figured out they were connected to Haitian Jack. I was like, "Oh yeah, them niggas are suspect, just like I thought." Like, God damn it, you motherfuckers! I knew it. And so it doesn't surprise me that Pras openly admits to being an informant. He doesn't even try to hide it. Like, he just came out. I'm not going to show the articles. Go look it up. It's already out there. And I'm like, wow, these motherfuckers are really like brazen now. Like, they really think they're in that position. Like, just watching Praz's interview with Vlad, where he admits to donating millions of dollars to the Democratic Party, let me know, like, yeah, this motherfucker got connections. And and what really let me know he has connections is the fact that Praz called out Vlad for knowing so much information. Because Praz in his mind is like, nigga, I'm an informant. You got informant ass questions. How do you know that shit? Like, it's one informant to another saying, hey, what the fuck? What's the fuck going on here? And that's not to call Vlad an informant. I don't know. I don't care. But that nigga. But yeah, bottom line is, it's been an open secret. That's what it's been a long time. And this goes for a lot of people in precarious situations. When they're in a tight bind, you have to look out for that. If somebody's in a tight bind, that means they're liable to do anything. They are politically unreliable, nigga. So what happens when they're politically unreliable? This happens. You know what I'm saying? They become rats, or either they become rats or they cozy up to the rat. And who am I to really judge, really? Who am I to say anything? Except if I'm in a position of being ratted on. And nah, fuck that shit. Yeah, I can't judge. Fuck that shit. I'm not going to be objective. You come here, you leech, and then you rat on motherfuckers all day long who helped you come here. That shit is diabolical. That shit is like, that's a form of some type of insanity. I don't know the DSM number or anything, right? But there's something there that's mental. Something's going on in your mind to think that's okay. And I'm like, wow, this shit is really unfolding before our eyes. Like, everything is unfolding. And I know many people won't make that connection, between black immigrants and informants and all that shit. I know that you won't make that connection, and maybe you shouldn't, because I'm not here to hate on anybody or hurt anybody. I'm here to survive and thrive. That's it. But in order for me to thrive, I have to pay attention to shit, you know? But yeah, so in me paying attention to shit, I gotta figure out who's politically unreliable. Like one time I was with some brothers trying to work on this political campaign. We're in front of a supermarket and we noticed like nobody stopping to engage us. And we're wondering why. And so one of the older brothers said, hey, most of these people can't vote. So this is not their concern. And that's real. It's like we're really wasting our time out here because most of these people are either new entrants or new arrivals or their first or second generation. So for the new entrants or the new arrivals, they can't vote anyway. And for the ones who are first generation, they can vote, but who's to say they're going to vote on to your benefit? And if they do want to vote to your benefit, they put their family member who's not a citizen at risk. Like they put them at a risk of deportation like a motherfucker. And that goes for the first and second generation motherfuckers. They could have they could have a grandma who's here illegally. And they're not going to risk their grandma for your ass. They're just not, nigga. And you have to accept that as a reality, So that's what I realized, or that's what the brother made me realize in that moment. Like, we're really doing this just for the fuck of it. And this is in New York, of course, So that's why I said, in my last video, it was my last video, the Mouthy Megan video, we have a percentage of Black Americans who are down here. They understand what's going on. They understand this shit. It's nothing personal. It's just it's an understanding. And and that's why, I'm making this video. It's to gain an understanding or bring it home, like make it clear, like we don't have a problem. But situations like Praz let us know there's always been a problem. Okay, we have to acknowledge it. That's it. No harm, no foul. We're not here to harm anyone. And if anybody hears this by the name of Green, first name, last name Gorilla, nobody's here to harm anyone. I love everybody. You know what I'm saying? I'm not here to not love my brothers, but nigga, we gotta survive out here. And I know you're in the fucking South, so you don't understand that shit. More power to you, but fuck you. But yeah, man. And that's all I have to say on this. It's been an open secret for a long time, man. A long time. This is not to cast aspersions on any group of people. This is not to say that you should be paranoid or distrustful of anybody. I'm just using Praz as a base example of any possibility. That's it. And for anyone to say that I can't look at this as an example or observe things, then you're in direct threat, or you are a direct threat to my survival, my ability to fucking breathe. So, fuck you. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to pay attention, keep myself 10 toes down and everything, But yeah, man. And that's it for today's raw hip hop perspective. Uh, I'm going to do another episode, I think, soon. I may take a break because this internet shit is weird, I got niggas, the gentleman I mentioned with the initials GG, this motherfucker sending subs and shit, subliminal shots. So I'm gonna take a break from this shit. But that's today. That's today's episode of Raw Hip Hop Perspective, just to talk about Prize and how all of this shit comes to the surface. What you don't get in a wash, you'll get in a rinse. Okay, man? And that's just the reality of life. Everything in the dark must come to the light. Okay? And that's it, man. Take it easy.